wait for the fire.
Okay. We can wait for him. Oh, here he is. Yay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, just so you guys know, I'm leaving City Hall and then trying to come back, check in, do my pre-COVID screening before I sign on, so I apologize.
No worries at all. All right. So we're recording, everyone, and so let us start. And I guess I will put the first. All right, so the first item on the agenda is 181 Boston Post Road. And who's here to speak on that? And do you want to unmute yourself to speak?
So good morning, Priscilla. This is Chris Flood. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes, excellent. Okay, and David Winsky and Bob Parenti are with us as well. Mr. Winsky is the owner of the Post Road Mobile Home Park. Mr. Parenti is the surveyor engineer that's helped us put together these plans. So you might know the park as been on Route 20 up near the Wildwood, established in 1955, permitted for 119 trailers, and they're looking to, the park may be sold to the tenants. So this is something that has been ongoing. You might know that the Joe Len Park was sold to the tenants. A park over in Hudson was sold to the tenants, and we're told that the company that works with these tenants has worked with about 60 other parks in Massachusetts, and they have the number of people required, and they're trying to put that together. This park is slightly different because there's a couple of commercial buildings out front. So what we're here for you today is we're putting a imaginary line through the park to turn it into two separate mobile home parks. There won't be any physical changes to the infrastructure, the buildings, the roadways. At this time, everything's going to stay exactly the same, but there's two parks. So because of that, because it's a second park being created, we technically have to go for a special permit, even though the original park is long grandfathered. So the two layouts that we have on the plans that we sent to you show two lots. Lot 2 is the lot out front alongside Boston Post Road, and that would consist of the two commercial buildings and currently 7 mobile homes. And then the park out back would have the remaining, there's 102. They would have the ability to have up to 109, and the front would have the ability to have up to 10. That's what the permits allow. So the line allows mostly for additional land or parking should there be any changes in the future. Mr. Winsky owns all of the mobile homes that are currently in the front lot. So it's not like anybody has to be displaced in order to create this line. So because of that, we had to come through first site plan review and then special permit to show you our proposal. And I think this is informal, to get your comments, see if there's any issues, any concerns, anything we need to worry about as we move forward with this process. So, any questions about anything we've submitted to you?
No, so this is one of the, did you see the plan that's on the screen?
Yes,
I do.
So is that, so this is lot 2 and this was be lot 1?
Correct.
Okay. And were the two plans the same?
The two plans are the same. The data, so the site data for lot 1 is on one of the plans. And the site data for lot 2 is on the other plan. But I believe they're identical as far as the picture of the park itself goes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So why don't I open it up to questions from the committee?
So I'll start. So there'll have to be access easements, I assume, across one to get to the other?
Yes, there's anticipated to be a access and utility easement from Boston Post Road across lot 2 onto the remaining mobile homes at the back of lot 1. So that would be permanent and run with the land. Because right now, the way the park is configured, you don't access the upper level from the lower level, we call it. but it could be configured that way if necessary in the future.
And lot 2 has frontage, correct? But it's out on Phelps Street? Because this would cut off the
Lot
frontage.
1, the back, we'll call it the front and the back. The back part,
Yeah.
lot 1, does have frontage, 203 feet along Phelps Street, correct?
Okay. So it meets the zoning requirements for frontage and area, and both lots would.
As far as we understand, yes.
Yep.
So everything, we'd also have easements for the existing sewer and water lines in addition to the access and utility easement.
Yep.
So that, it's hoped that nothing would have to physically change. This is mostly on paper is what you'll see.
Right.
So we did try to label where the water, the sewer, the drainage, the lot lines, the fire hydrants, the entrances, the exits. We even put where the dumpsters are to try and give a good picture of what's going on here.
And it looks like the new property line goes through one of the trailers. No, down at where yeah, right there. That
It would probably just be, you mean, it looks like the, right behind one of the commercial buildings, the 1, 2, 3 of the fifth one. Is that the one you're talking about, Tom?
Yeah.
I'm pointing to it on the plan.
Yes. So I probably defer to Mr. Parente for that, but I think the line would not necessarily cut through someone's mobile home. It'd probably be just shy of that.
Mm.
You on? Oh. Hi, this is Bob chirping in. We did locate that trailer, so with survey, but I think that the plot of the trailer is coming from the city GIS, so that may have to shift. The lot line should not go through the trailer in reality.
Yeah.
It's just, I think the GIS part of the trailer is a little bit bigger overall than the survey shows. Maybe out of scale of hair, that's all, according to my survey. So yeah, I can adjust just that trailer.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we actually put pins in the road, and I know that we missed the trailer.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll make sure we do when it comes down to it.
Right. Yeah. So
I previously had a conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say my only other questions or curiosity are just zoning related or special permit related. So I don't know if Jeff has looked at that at all yet.
Yeah, I looked at some of it. That's where I made the decision that it needs a special permit because we're going to have 2 different parks under 2 different ownerships.
Right.
So I guess zoning, the question I'm going to have, maybe off zoning a little bit, is signage. Is there going to be a signage out on Boston Post Road for lot 1 where it doesn't have any frontage out there?
There is an existing sign, a pylon at the out in the front of the building. I'm not sure if there would be an intent to add on to that sign some additionally, I'll call them placards.
We have an existing pylon sign out there that we could add on to or move signs around to make enough space for a separate sign for the additional mobile home park. So we could work that out.
No, I guess my question is how we're going to handle zoning when if there's a sign for park on lot 1 out there and it has no park 1 has, I don't know, where do you have an office building or something, I guess?
I don't understand the question.
I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going back off on that one. I'm talking out loud here or thinking out loud.
Okay.
So I guess my thought, I defer to fire chief, is navigating around here. If anything gets redeveloped out front, that's going to be in through site plan. So where is the easement going to be? Is that going to be conducive for fire apparatus getting in there in the future?
Right now, we have no plans to develop out front. We're keeping those existing lots from when I talked to you for additional parking in case we ever do. Right now, there's no
Okay.
plans to redevelop out front.
So my understanding is not showing here, but your easement, if we're looking at this plan, is going to be on the right side where the road says Lot 2 area.
Actually, Mr. Cook, if you look between the two commercial buildings on Boston Post Road,
Yeah,
the
okay.
easement's labeled in blue. It's the current access easement comes off of Boston Post Road in between the two buildings,
Okay,
and it goes straight into the park, and then also allows for people to live on the side closest to the Wildwood, so they can turn and go behind one of the commercial buildings to access the roadway that goes along the side. Priscilla's pointing to it now, exactly.
gotcha.
So that it makes it easy for people, all different parts of the park, to be able to come and get out on Route 20. And again, that's been existing for probably 35 years.
Hi, can I ask a question? It's Kevin Breen, Fire Chief.
Yeah,
So consistent with what our building commissioner is raising, see if I can word it a little differently. In terms of the naming and labeling with the subdivision or separating of this one parcel into two, concerns that I'm sure we could work out. Concerns would be, how are we going to differentiate unit numbers? So if we had, let's say, 119, locations, and they're all numbered 1 through 119, I don't want to end up with two different parcels where we have two number 2s, two number 4s, et cetera, now or in the future. So how is that going to be addressed? They're going to maintain the same numbers, lot numbers?
We could keep the same numbers. The city had approached me, I would say over 5 years ago, about naming the roads and renumbering the lots, and they were supposed to get back to us. They had us pick out road names, and no one ever got back to us to finish. So this might be a good time to, as we do this, maybe name the roads and renumber them however the city wants.
I would agree. Maybe this is the time that we, come up with something so that it's consistent, so we don't have a deviation in terms of two different ideas and competing interest, if there is such a thing.
And the existing numbers, some of them don't kind of make sense where they are because the park was put in at different times. So the numbers are add on. So we were kind of in favor a few years ago to renumber everything, but we never kind of heard back.
The commercial buildings on Boston Post, those are identified by separate numbers, correct?
Correct.
The two buildings, one's 175 Boston Post Road, and the other one's 181 Boston Post Road.
Right.
Existing now, the mobile homes are 181 Boston Post Road, also lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. Okay, I'm sure we can work something out with that. So thanks for being open to that.
Yep, well, no problem.
That's actually probably better for everyone.
so Tom DeFercio, does that numbering stuff fall on you?
Yeah, I guess it does. So Dave, was it engineering you were working with at the time?
It was engineering. They had me want to pick out some city streets. They actually sent Officer Moran down to go over it at the time. I'm not sure what his position was. So I'd given the stuff to him and we never kind of heard back. And I checked in a couple of times and I never heard back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in agreement that this is a good time to revisit that. So I'll start that ball rolling.
Because I know they wanted, we talked before, to go like an odd, even, like a regular neighborhood, instead of we have just consecutive numbers. But again, we're open to it, so whatever works
Okay.
best.
So
Maybe
the,
Georgie, go ahead, sorry.
the two build, just to finish up that point, the two buildings in the front, they're on the same property and they will still be on the same property, right? But they have two different numbers.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Good morning, Priscilla. I apologize for being late today.
No worries. Do you have any comments on this? They're just trying to put a new lot line into this property and create two separate lots.
No, I
But
don't
not-
really have any comments. I would kind of concur with Tom and Chief Breen, though, about now would be the time to rename it, renumber it. It seems like that would make the most sense. And Officer Moran, if you're talking about George Moran, became Sergeant Moran. He retired probably 8 years ago. So those names and numbers have gone by the wayside.
All right, so it sounds like the next step would be for them to do the road naming and numbering and then go to get the special permit. Does that make sense? Or what's the sequence, either Jeff or Tom?
I think,
Yeah,
go ahead, Jeff.
I would speak up. I would think that would have everything all set so that it can go through city council for the special permit smoother. That we won't have, if they go like this, and it's going to cause a delay with the name, if we're going to do the streets naming and numbering. So I would prefer that be all done beforehand. We can say that that's all approved, and hopefully that will go through city council smoother.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, so why don't Dave Winsky and your crew work with Tom's crew and police department, and we can finalize that part, and then I guess do we want to see it back here again before they go to special permit, Jeff?
I would think so, so that if city council asks us, we've already seen it.
Okay.
Like I said,
right.
just keep things moving along smoother than having roadblocks put up and delays once it gets to the city council.
All right. So Chris Flood, did you hear that?
I did. So would you want us to come back if we get the roads named and the mobile homes numbered? Will we come for the formal site plan review, or do you need to see us again for the informal to get your general comments? Seems like if that's the one issue and resolve that, unless there's any other questions we haven't answered, we may be able to come right to an application for site plan review.
So the question to Jeff is, do they even have to come to site plan review? I think we were just going to review it in order to give comment to city council for the special permit. Am I right?
I would think so, that we can just do this as an informal.
Okay.
Rather than the formal, because I don't know if the city council is going to refer this back to us.
Okay.
Special permit process, but if we've already seen it and we say we agree with this plan, hopefully that will make it just go smoother.
So we'll just, Chris, we'll just keep it informal. We'll just, come back with a new revised plan with some information. And do we need the easement stuff, Tom? Does that need to be on here too?
Yeah, and I can't tell on this plan if it already is, but yes, it should be part of the final plan that they go for the special permit with.
Okay.
I believe
So,
the easements are already shown on the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just to clarify, are you looking to verify that the easements are on the plan? Because I can show you where they are, or are you looking for the written, we would probably draft an easement, Tom, and record it down the road. But if you're looking at the plan, in between the two commercial buildings up on Boston Post Road, it's a blue outline to show the easement roadway, and it says access and utility easement to lot 1.
Okay.
Okay,
So it is on, I want to make sure that you're aware, it is on the plan.
okay. Yeah, it's a private easement. I don't think we need to see the documents. I don't want to speak for the city council, but I just wanted to make sure it was shown on the plan.
Okay.
So Tom, will your department come up with names and the numbers for us to work with, or how do we go from here?
Well, the private roads, I think you could propose the names. I don't know if you still have the names that you were looking at before. The numbering, we can if you have some ideas you want to show us, we'll look at it, or we can, I can talk to Tim and we can kind of like kick it around and see what makes sense and run it by the chief also.
Yeah, I'd rather be easier if you just did it, and then we could name the roads however you want and number them however you want. So if you want, just tell us how you want them numbered, what you want for roads, how many roads you want, and then we can come up with, I don't know, 4. I think before we had 5 names, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
So we're open to it, whatever works for everybody.
Okay. So you're saying because the roads loop through, we have to decide if it gets 2 names or 1 name or?
Correct. I believe the one on Phelps Street had 1 name, and then there was 4 names for up here.
Okay.
But, however.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know how quickly you can turn that around. Does it make sense to do for the next site plan meeting, which I think is September 1st? Or
I think so.
the following? Okay.
I think we leave it
Or the
to,
following one is the 15th.
I think we just leave it to Attorney Flood when they're ready that they come back.
Yep. Okay. So Chris, if you're ready before, the Friday or the Thursday before the next meeting, you can let me know. And if not, we'll just put you on the following one.
Okay, but since it's informal, same thing, I'll get you the updated plans in electronic form.
Yep.
Send you a request to be put on the agenda, and we'll reconvene just like we are now.
Correct.
Were there
Okay,
any other concerns or comments? Did we pretty much cover everything?
So not to belabor the point, I just want to make sure when we're talking about multiple streets, my preference is, and I'll communicate with fire department operations. My preference is not to have 4 different streets with 4 number 5s, 4 number 6s. With mobile homes, typically you're having an individual lot number, and I'm sure the residents might appreciate the continuity of maintaining lot numbers. So that would be my preference. I don't know if that helps or hurts, but I'd rather not have 4 streets with 4 number 3s. So we're wondering where that is in terms of what will likely continue to be described as a mobile home park. Am I making sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
I mean, it's fine with us. So if, engineering, police and fire want to get together and talk and tell us how they want it, we'll just do it that way.
Okay. And that's something we can do internally. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, then. I think we are done with this one. And Chris, will you just let us know when you're ready and we'll put you back on.
I will. Thank you all for your time this morning.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is William Street. And I think Bruce Alec is here.
I am. Could you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, terrific.
So I don't know which plans you want me to show, but this is the change plan, and I guess you also gave me the so that was what we were talking about last time was the sort of the elevations and everything. So that's what we had asked for at the last meeting. So I don't know, go ahead and start and just tell me where you want me to, you want me to show.
Yeah, so there were, the plan that you see has the site plan had one revision on it, and that was the height of the building. So the original height of the building was from slab to top of roof outside was 26 feet. And that was on the approved plan earlier in the year. And so we had gone through on this new building. We went with a shorter ceiling height. And then now it's been reverted back to the original height, which is the 26 feet. And I haven't seen the latest architectural. But I've been told that on the front end of it, it's going to be the 26, and it's going to slope back at about 4% towards the south, where it's going to be a lesser height. It's going to be about a 4% pitch all the way back. And there's going to be a parapet. You can see on the side view there, the parapet, mostly for the benefit of the street view, it'll appear as a flat roof. So when you're looking at it from that side, it'll look, but it'll actually have a slope from front to back, from north to south. So that was the only change, was just the height of the building on a site plan. And so I just revised the 2 sheets that reference that height. And then you got receipt of this plan here from Sean Pepper, the architect. So that was pretty much the changes. I can go over the others, go back and review the site differences between the approved and the new plan. But essentially, it's a smaller footprint, as you can see there. The red tone is the new plan. Underneath that, you see the gray tone, which is the approved plan. So the site is smaller, the building's smaller, there's less units, there's less parking. So there's more of the work is shifted away from the wetland area, as you can see. And we're holding the line on the east side, closest to William Street. We're holding the pavement line, so we're not getting any pavement closer to William Street. We still have the same green space there. The difference is we've lost 4 spaces there. We converted that to the driveway aisle, and we didn't need as many spaces, so we have a smaller building. So we were able to move the building 9 feet closer, further away from the, or closer to the William Street. And that allowed us to get even more distance, maximize the distance from the building to the wetlands and all the improvements there. That was the objective there. And it also reduced significantly the amount of earthwork, because as you know, the site, when you walk back there, it drops off significantly. So we're able to keep a lot of that earthwork fill reduced down to substantially. And we were able to eliminate a lot of retaining wall. There's no retaining wall along the north face any longer. We have the retaining wall starts towards the west side, and it's reduced significantly. It's a shorter wall, and we're keeping all the screening the same and fence the same on the north side. So from the perspective of the abutters to the north, it's going to be a smaller footprint, and it's going to have the same amount of screening, and they're not going to have the wall there. So it's going to be a little bit better from their view. That's the overall.
Anybody else in the committee that has questions? I think we were just interested in the architectural stuff at the last meeting. They're going before conservation on Thursday, so we'll have an answer from that. I don't see any issues with that, just because it's less impact anyway. Anybody else have any comments or thoughts that we need to address?
Can you put the architect plans back up?
Yep. And there's 2 sets, so there's, whoops. I guess that is all on one page.
So Bruce, the elevation on the top of this sheet is the one that faces north, faces the condominiums?
That's correct. That is correct.
And has that changed really from what we saw in terms of the style and the architecture from what we approved the first time?
It's generally the same. There's a different architect, but it's generally the same. We had we call bay doors, or sometimes called drive-ins, along the north face, and with a pedestrian door. So it's the same setup as before. The only difference is we have 9 units instead of 10, and they all get a drive-in on the north face, and then on the rear they either have a drive-in and or a loading, we call it tailgate. So it's tailgate height. So on the right side, you can see there's a drive-ins. On the left side, you got more tailgate type spaces in there.
So that north elevation it's just metal building, right?
It's a metal building, and so it's like an industrial looking type building. There's no question there.
I feel like there was there architectural element or a different material on that, partially on that north face before, or am I thinking of a different project?
Geez, I'm not sure about that. I would have to get you that information for a comparison as far as what was actually specified or called out, because even the plan that was submitted back last December, that was didn't have that much detail on it. It was just a like an elevation view. Didn't have that much detail on, so it wasn't really such as this plan here. I know he's working on the architectural now, but it was a simplistic plan, something like this. But it had more color on it. I remember they had color on it. That was the only difference in my remembering. The other difference was the older building was a flat roof, so the drainage downspouts were internal, and then we had picked up internally, brought it out towards the south side, where this building here has a slope all the way from north to south, and then we have the downspouts along the south side of the building, which is picked up and brought into the system, the recharge system specifically for the roof drain. It takes all the roof, puts it into the system. So that's to me, that was the major difference, was a flat roof to a slope roof. But the parapet takes care of that as far as the aesthetics.
Right. I know we talked a lot about the screening on the north side before, and you're saying that hasn't changed with this plan, correct?
No, it has not changed. So we have the same tree screening that we have on that side. It works out a little bit better. It's full irrigation system on that side as well, because you can't really get those green giants and those spruce trees growing unless you have it first 4 or 5 years. You got to irrigate it until the root system gets established. So that's the same. So the fact that the wall is removed is going to make it a little easier for those plants to grow.
Yep.
I'm trying to find the landscape plan. Do you know what number it is?
Yeah, number 4. So you want to go up a little bit, keep going. Keep going. It's going to be, that's the plan right there that you get coming into.
Okay.
It's lighting. So yeah, there it is.
So now that it's pulled back, does this still screen? Is the elevation so that they're just going to see the planting, or they're going to see some of the buildings still?
Well, they're going to see the building at the beginning until those plants mature. You are going to be able to see the building. There's no question. The existing trees are going to stay, and the evergreens are put in there so that they have a screen wall 12 months out of the year. Those green giants, they'll grow anywhere from 18 to 24 inches a year, providing they're irrigated, which we're proposing, the irrigation system there. And so they will grow up to 40 to 50 feet, those green giants. Those are the same trees that you see over on Wilson Street and the cemetery over there. Those are green giants that are over there. So they're not to be confused with the American arborvitae, which are the small ones that just sit there and they don't do much for 10 years. So these things are completely different type of vegetation.
And is there still a fence along this edge?
There is.
Okay,
fence,
all the way?
Yeah, it's
okay.
See the limit line there? Let's see if you got some of that didn't come out. That's actually on sheet 1. The limit line is shown on sheet 1, and the note on sheet 1, which calls out says 6-foot high vinyl fence is stockade fence between limit line 1 and 2. So on sheet 1 there, keep going.
One more?
Yeah, one more. And so you're going to see the limit line 1, and then and then 2 is way over there on the west side. Yeah, there you go. That's all 6 foot high vinyl fence.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else on the committee have any comments?
Yes, could you move to the southern portion of the long part of the building? What's the height of the retaining wall on the southern side?
Okay, you want to go to the next sheet,
Okay.
and I will see if I can pull up something here I can look at. Give me the heights on that. Okay, the heights are shown there, labeled. They're kind of labeled vertically, and they're pointing up towards the wall. That's the top wall and also the bottom grade at the wall there. So the highest point is going to be right at the turn near that big oak tree that's over there. Yeah, a little further down on the south. Yeah, keep going down. Yeah, right there. That's the highest point right there. So it looks like 381 and 372. So we got 9 feet right there. So that's the highest point. And then probably your average is somewhere along the middle of that, which is like, I want to say 6, 7 feet in some areas.
So what I'm looking at is I'm trying to imagine the height of the wall to my right as I'm driving around and how narrow that corner is. What's the spacing there? Understand it's very difficult for us to see on the computer, or at least my computer.
Yes.
In terms of reading the numbers.
Yeah, there's going to be, right in that area as you're coming down, we put 2 vents. And so you're coming into the turn on the top, and so you're going to have a larger radius, and then you're coming in. So rather than having like one sweeping curve there, you're going to have 2 turns in that movement over there. So you have a guardrail along the whole way. You can see the guardrail on that side along the whole curve there. And it's 18 feet wide down by the dumpster. And as you get up towards the west side of the building, it's wider. I would have to see if I can get the dimension on that. So sheet 1 has a dimension. I have.
Good, Bruce. I can see it now. Thank you.
Could you see if you go to sheet 1, it's got a dimension from this side to that side over there. I think it's 30 some odd feet. The copy, my eyes aren't good enough to see it. Okay, yeah, 30 feet on that side. So you have the parking space, which is 8 feet wide. So it's a little wider on that side. You got like a 24-foot driving area. Then it narrows down to 18 feet over here. It's 18 feet, at least 18 foot clear all the way out through the rest of that. So those turning movements will take the tower, the 95-foot tower that you have, and then some. We can sized it for a WB50 truck, and the tower is more like a WB40 truck. It has it needs a bigger radius, so that the tower is well within the WB50 turning movement.
So has that width changed? Was it originally 20? I don't recall it being 18.
It was always 18 down there, and it was 18 on the top end as well.
Okay.
So if you go back to the approved plan there, you'll see that we I think we have more room at the top end, actually, over at the north side than we did before. But we're trying to maximize the separation between the building and the north property there, Gray Meadow. But we always had 18 down at the south side. We have a little bit more now on the north side.
Any other questions or comments?
None from the police.
Okay. Tom, anything from you?
No, I discussed last time, I think it's less of an impact on the site, so I don't have any issues.
All right. And Jeff, anything from you?
I'm all set. The only concern, I'll say again, is the lighting of the building in the lot. So especially on the north side, to make sure everything is shielded. The advent of the new LEDs, it's creating issues. So just as long as everything is contained on site, I have no problem.
And we can approve it with that condition just to make sure that lighting, even if it's LEDs is contained to the site, that would be good. And conservation is going to be reviewing it on Thursday. So I think we should be set. So once conservation is fine, then if we're all set, then we will ask for a new plan that we can sign, a plan set that we can sign. And then we'll just sort of amend the site plan just because it's a different plan.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Everybody good with that? Then I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And then let's see what's next on the agenda. Does anybody have the agenda? What's next on the agenda? I have stuff pulled up.
Priscilla, this is Brian. I believe
Okay.
next on the agenda was supposed to be Green District.
Okay.
If I may, it would be okay if we took 339 Boston Post Road out of order. We have a team member that needs to
That's
get
fine.
off the call relatively soon.
That's fine. So for the members, there's a bunch of discussion items, and so we're just going to discuss a few things just to clarify things. And I think this is Green District. So Brian, you want to take? Oh no, we're doing not Green District. We're doing 339 Boston Post Road.
Good. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Priscilla, I sent you an email, just one more with a revised site plan. If you can pull that one up.
Okay.
While I'm
Give
talking.
me a second.
No
Okay.
problem.
Go ahead.
Just getting started. So as you know, we've been at this since late last year, and we've been listening, and we've been trying to take in all the comments that we've received and make changes where we can and where that makes sense for the project. And so a couple of changes I want to discuss with you all this morning that we think, show that we've been responsive to what we've been hearing. I think will make for an overall better project. The first is, and we don't have plans for this yet, but you'll have them relatively soon, is that we're going to be moving out of the riverfront area. That was discussed at the Conservation Commission last week, particularly with respect to the bocce court and portion of the pool that was in the riverfront area. We'll be submitting revised plans that will show that we're moving out of that area. And we have Tim McGuire from Goddard Consulting on the line who can discuss that in a little bit greater detail, and also our engineers from Allen and Major. So that's a change that Concom will be seeing, and I think responds to some of the comments that commissioners brought up last time. The second change, and that's shown on this plan we have up here, is city engineer had asked us, his lingering concern was site access, whether we had picked the best places for site access given our layout. And we took another look, and this plan here shows we'll be submitting revised plans on, which is moving that easternmost site access, the main site access, to be directly across from Village Drive. I know that's something that people have discussed a few times, and we have, I just want to turn quickly now. He's still on the line to Giles Ham from Van Ness, who can discuss that change before he has to leave.
Good morning, everybody. Giles Ham with Van Ness and Associates, and we appreciate your comments on the project. So, as was stated, so we've looked at the driveway locations. I think you're aware that there's a Route 20 corridor study and implementation of changes there along the corridor, which is a 3-lane section that'll start. That project should start, I believe, this year. So in the future, there'll be a 3-lane section where there'll be a center turn lane to accommodate turning traffic. The westernmost driveway, I think, has not changed since the recent plan, which is just an exit-only driveway. On the main driveway, we felt it would be best to relocate it opposite Village Drive. I think Village Drive is a 55 and over community, not a lot of traffic coming out of there, but we think that makes sense to move it opposite Village Drive. And then there's a transition of the left turn, the 2-way left turn lane there to the east, where you have a left turn, exclusive left turn lane into the plaza there. So we think this is a good plan. We think it addresses the concerns that were raised by the city engineer.
Okay, Tom and or David?
I'll just jump in. This is the first time I've seen this. So the state plans show the hatching if you're headed westbound. There's hatching there that will have to be, they'll have to revise their plan to show that as a left turn lane.
Right. So let me just state that, again, this is the first time you've seen this plan. We've not talked to Mass DOT about this, but that hash marking would turn into, we would continue the 2-way left turn lane, say approximately 250 feet to the east, and then it would transition to the left turn lane into the retail plaza. And I can forward you a plan of that changes as well. Again, we've not shown these to Mass DOT yet.
Right. So that may be able to be a dedicated left turn lane versus a 2-way left turn lane at that location, right?
Yeah, it's either or. It's up to the state in terms of how they want to stripe it.
Yeah.
We've just continued the 2-way left turn lane. There are other out parcels there that could be developed. I don't know, but in any event, it would be a turn lane for this project, and then transition to the left turn lane to the retail plaza.
Right. Okay, so this is one idea that I sort of had in the back of my head is aligning this with the driveway across the street. So, I'm interested in giving this some more detailed look, but I appreciate the effort to take a look at the locations of it and find the best place, considering all the other movements that are going to happen here with all the other properties.
So Tom, you might be able to answer some. I guess one of my questions is, by moving the entrance and exit down further across from Village Drive, the benefit would be that there's a lot less traffic entering and exiting from Village Drive versus further down by the gas station and some of the other businesses. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I'll let the traffic engineer, go into more detail, but that was my concern anyways. When you offset them a little bit, you get a lot of movements going both ways that maybe conflict and maybe aren't, people may not see a movement from the other side.
I think the idea is we're trying to eliminate where left turns are competing for the same space. And, a lot of times that does happen when you have these 3-lane sections and multiple curb cuts. But I think where we've relocated it, there's really not people competing for the same turn space. opposite Village Drive.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense to me.
And as far as moving it out of Riverfront, we're happy to see that, and I'll look at that a little bit more closely too. Did it change also the floodplain impacts or not?
Tim McGuire, or I don't know if Scott's on, but Tim, can you address that?
Yes, this is Tim McGuire from Goddard Consulting. We have not been able to look more closely at this revised plan, but we can get back to you on that.
That's fine. I just wanted to know what the switches were, because that'll help us figure out what to say to ZBA for the floodplain too. I don't know if, you know, if so at some point we need those numbers. That's all I'm asking.
Now, we're working to have that for you for Thursday, Priscilla, so that we can wrap up Concom.
Okay. We'll be interested.
One of the benefits of these changes is that the retaining wall towards the eastern side of the property will largely be eliminated as a result of these changes. So another benefit to doing it this way.
Okay.
Did it change the number of parking spaces?
It did not. We still have our 2 per unit that zoning requires of us.
All right. Well, this is a new change. I guess we have to all look at it before we can make some decisions. Conservation will obviously weigh in on Thursday. And I guess, do you want me to send these plans to the rest of the committee today, or did you do that already, Brian?
I didn't.
Okay.
And if you have them handy, that would be great. Obviously, more detailed revised plans will be coming, but this gives you the start of the concepts we're looking at.
Okay, so this is just so I'll forward what Brian sent me this morning, and everybody can just sort of take a look. But we'll sort of expect when you're ready to just let us know, and we can review some revised plans, because I'm assuming we want to look at that before you go to City Council, Urban Affairs.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other comments?
Priscilla, this is Katie Roby. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just, if you go up to where the new entrance is and head west, there's 2 little arrows on the middle lane. You see those? One looks like it's turning east, one will be turning west. Are those just to indicate that you can go? Because where would you turn?
Oops, sorry. Jumping around. Okay.
So you've passed the driveway entrance. There's a left arrow. Do you see what I'm talking about? Yeah, those 2.
And I guess Giles, can you explain that? I don't know if that's just a bad graphic or what.
No, so that is actually the pavement markings on the Mass DOT plans that designated as a center turn lane. On the plan that we prepared that we can send over, we're probably going to move those to kind of right at the 4-way intersection, so it makes more sense. It's a little bit confusing, but those 2 arrows are just saying this is a 2-way left turn lane. You can turn within this area. So, but we'll address that in the plan that would go to the city and also be reviewed by Mass DOT.
Okay, because there is nowhere to turn left if you're heading west once you've passed that intersection, right? It's all
right. And that, again, that's the exact plan from the Mass DOT files.
Okay. So it just needs to be striped and marked a little differently.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Correct. They just took the old ones and they haven't changed it to reflect this new. This is right across from the villages, so.
Right.
So this is where it would have to be striped or remarked there. Correct.
Right.
But Councilor Roby, that center lane is throughout the corridor is going to be marked that way to tell drivers that that lane is intended for left turns for both people going in both directions. So it's not just at the driveways, but it's just to tell drivers what that lane is for.
Which I understand that. I know we were in New Hampshire recently, and Laconia has a center lane like this, and it was interesting. Drivers used it as almost a access way. If the traffic was free direction they were not going, they would kind of slide into that and then sit there and wait for the other lane to clear before they could move through. So it didn't really get used as a turning lane as much as just a space to hold your car. But I understand the concept.
Yep.
This is Councilor Weck. You all set, Katie? Because this is.
I am. Yes, thank you.
Councilor Weck, have a question?
Go ahead.
Ready? So I'd like, just clarify for me. So it seems the way it was just discussed that this is a improvement to have this main entrance across from the villages. But how so there's been a lot of feedback, comments from the village's residents who report their concerns about traffic because when they're trying to turn out, sometimes they have to sit there 5-10 minutes to get out. So now, I mean, it feels, from my perspective, we're developing a safety concern where you could potentially have people directly across from each other, you know, one turning left, one turning right, so effectively heading the same position on Route 20, waiting a long time for an opening on traffic, looking east and west, and you're going to have two people flooring it at the same time, coming out into the same space. Help me understand how this is an improvement.
Well, this is absolutely an improvement, and the desire would be to have intersections opposite each other rather than offset. And I think that's the comment that we received from city staff. And in order to address that comment, we proposed this plan to address the comment that we received from city staff. Again, this plan is subject to Mass DOT approval. We're interested in the feedback here today, and then we would be meeting with Mass DOT to show them this plan as well. But this is an absolutely safe plan, and I think that people that are exiting Village Drive need to understand the future. With the 3-lane section, it'll be easier for them to turn in and out and safer than it is today.
Does that answer your question, Councilor Wagner?
I guess in theory, yeah. I mean, I can just foresee people looking left and right, trying to find that open and floor it, and people aren't going to be looking directly across and having a hard time understanding how this is an improvement. But thank you for your feedback.
Right, anybody else out there have questions?
Yeah, I'll go next, Jeffrey Cook. I'll hold most of my comments until they see the plans. But one statement I'll say again is I do not like receiving plans at the meeting. If we're going to have an agenda item, those plans should be submitted at least before then so that we have time to at least attempt to make a review. So I have lots of questions, but I really need to see the detailed plans. My one question, if you can scroll down just a little bit, is the pool area. Just scroll down rather than minimize.
Okay.
And how much spacing there is for emergency services to be navigating behind that building and around the pool area, between the building and the pool. I guess now I see the sidewalk going straight through, so I'm okay.
And Jeff, I appreciate your concern. I always hate delivering plans late, but these changes, they just came out early this week, so we got them to you as soon as we could. I don't expect detailed commentary. We just gave you the plans, but we wanted to give it to you once we had it, and it just came in.
Yep.
All right, so obviously we have to look at these more detailed, and we'll be looking for more plans from you. So once you have revised plans, you can send them to us, and then we can decide whether we're ready to review them again at the next meeting or what. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, guys. And then the next thing was, I had just put it on the agenda because it was an item that was sort of still pending, and that was the green district changes.
Yeah.
So my question, and I hadn't really expected Brian to be here, but here is a plan, and I don't know, I think it was fire and police we were, or I'm not quite sure who still needed to kind of weigh in on this. And obviously there's a slight change here that conservation will need to review too, just to approve, but it's less impact, I think. So I don't know where this stands and who's responded and who hasn't, but Brian, if you want to give a little review, we can do that.
Very simply, that red line you see is an easement area that we uncovered through our due diligence. It's an easement that an off-site property owner has rights to, and as you can see, this is phase 2. Which is the easternmost portion of the property to be developed second. But our building is right in that easement area. It was fine as we were developing or as we were doing our permitting last year, but potential issue. So there's another plan you have, Priscilla, which shows the relocation of this building outside of that easement area.
Oops. Is it in the same set? Oh, I just have to scroll down.
Oh, yeah.
Oops.
It's probably one of those tabs. It was in that set that I gave you this morning.
Okay, so not that.
No.
Let me see. Okay.
This is actually just as good to leave up as well, because this is our fire truck sweep plan. But if you can go a little bit further down, you can see we've moved that building outside of the easement area. The ultimate impact is the number of parking spaces, the number of units, the bedroom count mix, all stay the same, and the impervious area actually improves slightly with this change. So we ran this by the building commissioner, Jeff Cook, just to verify that this is a minor amendment that he actually has authority to approve on his own under the executive residential overlay district. I know he brought this before the committee members for their feedback, which is great. This plan here was something that the fire chief had asked for, which shows the truck access out the building with this change. I talked to him about it yesterday, so we got this up on the screen. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, there'll be some other changes that come with the plan, but they're all minor in nature. So this is really more of an FYI to make sure that we're on the right track in doing this.
Okay, Jeff, do you have any comments? Like, what's the next step? If everybody just gives you the nod, you're okay with it, and we can, and how do we?
Yeah, I'm just looking for, I think the fire chief will just weigh in saying he's okay. Tom had a couple of comments, and Priscilla, you did on the landscaping. They're all minor. If we all agree that it's minor, it's just working out those details that we're all happy now, so it doesn't pop up later on.
And do we need a plan that we will sign that shows that just the sheets that relate to the changes here that we should sign?
I would like to see signed plan so that there's no confusion later on.
Okay, and so Chief Breen, are you all set with this?
I'm all set with the fire maneuvering plan as presented. Yes, thank you.
Okay. And Tom, you're set with it?
Yep, my initial questions were just related to the amount of parking and impervious area. And they confirmed that that hasn't changed or has improved a little, so I don't have any other issues.
Okay, and in the plan set, is there a revised landscape piece?
There isn't right now. There will be. It's again minor changes, but there will be. And certainly as part of the building permit and as-built plans, you'll have an updated landscaping plan as well.
Okay. So I guess when you're ready with the set, if you want to send it to us before you print them out, just so that we can all see them, and it just needs to be the set of the changes that have occurred.
Right.
Okay. All right. So we'll look forward to seeing those, and And we'll get back to you once that's done.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Okay? And I think there was one other, anybody else have any comments or questions? All right, and I think there was one other thing on the list. Let's see, does somebody have the agenda? There was one other thing on the,
45 Maple Street, proposal to restripe parking.
oh, Jeff. You had, what was Maple Street?
Yeah, number 45. It says
45 Maple
proposal
Street.
to restripe parking.
Jeff, that was something you had asked me to put in. Jeff?
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
Just to bring up everybody's attention, they're going to be going to ZBA for reconstruction of their parking lot. Somewhat. 45 Maple is looking to do variances. Right currently now, there's office spaces in the lowest level, and they desire to change that to residential units. So that is going to trip in redesign their parking for more parking spaces. They are just maximizing. They don't have enough parking. They don't have enough landscape area. But just have people aware of, because one of the things is the parking lot is going to require backing out into the street for relief. Just to bring everybody's up to, if anybody has any questions on that. Just pass your comments on to the ZBA for their hearing.
Okay, do you know if that's been, well, I can, Sue will send out the notice once she's posted that and has the information, so you guys will see that. All right, is there anything else?
Priscilla, is there a way that I can put that plan on, or do I
Sure.
need to send it to you?
No, so what you can do is request, so go to the bar and there's the 3 dots. And you can request sharing and I can say yes.
More action.
Let's see.
I don't see sharing.
Oh, I don't see sharing. Well, actually, you hit your share button and see if that tells you that asks me to allow you. That little share button.
I did.
Okay, that didn't do anything. Well, send it to me and I can post it.
And Priscilla, this is Councilor Roby. The ZBA meeting is being posted for August 25th at 7 o'clock for 40 Maple.
Thank you very much. You're right on the ball there.
I knew we'd gotten an email, so I was able to find
Thanks.
it.
So Jeff, if you just want to email that, I can open it.
I am trying to. It's coming up.
Okay. Thanks.
I sent it with no title.
Okay. I'm waiting.
I find either they go quick or they sit out there in internet land for a while.
I just got it. I got it. Let me be able to share it. Okay. This is what we're talking about. So Jeff, if you want to just explain what we're seeing.
So they want to change this from existing 4-unit with 2-unit commercial business on the first floor to a 6-unit family. So they're just putting So the 6 unit is going to require the 12 parking spaces. They're also going to be seeking relief because they want a 50% compact parking car spaces rather than the maximum allowed 33. They got maneuvering distance, maneuvering aisles, which are 16.4 feet, and it requires the 24 to 20. And the backing out into the street, and their landscaping is insufficient. For that landscaped area is for the recreation use of the tenants. So right now they pull, if you go over there to striping, and they basically pull in and they park head on against the building, I think is the most of the layout of how I see people been parking over there.
So Jeff, tell me again, right now it is commercial and residential?
Right now it's commercial and residential.
And what they want to do is only residential, 6 units?
That's correct. I think this, if we go back in time, a lot of these buildings, I know I dealt in other communities, when they had, this could have been commercial on the first floor and then 2 units, 1 unit per floor. And
Right.
then it was the movement to divide those into smaller spaces, so they got 2 now. So now there's 2 per floor. Now there's 4 units, so they on the bottom.
So it'll be 6 units and 8 parking spaces?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that that's kind of difficult maneuvering. You have to back out into Maple Terrace. I'll have to take a look at this and see if how feasible that is.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions for Jeff? Because obviously this is going before ZBA, and we need to make comments to ZBA to decide if the variances they're asking for are.
And
Gonna
this
be safe.
this would trigger a site plan application also, correct?
It would, but I think they have to go to ZBA first to make sure that they can do the to do that. So, but I guess, Jeff, how do you think that would be the best way to handle this? Should we do this sort of informally and just discuss amongst ourselves?
So I just wanted to bring everybody's attention where it's going before the ZBA.
Okay.
It will come into our play. I don't know how ZBA, this is the first one that I'm going to be dealing with ZBA expanding like this. I know they weren't too receptive of the one over at 30 Maple Street when they try to expand those units. And since they were so not in favor of the one at 30 Maple, this was already in the works. That's why it's coming now, because this has been on the ZBA or submitted to the ZBA, I think, before 30 Maple was denied.
So do they show any ways that they're trying to reduce the impact? I mean, obviously have to put in these different parking spaces, and then the landscape is reduced, but are they trying to like make better landscaping in what they have left or anything? I mean, have they proposed any of that?
No. They
Okay.
don't have any.
Okay. Oh, interesting. All right.
Priscilla, again, this is Councilor Roby. If you go onto the ZBA agenda, which I think you should be able to get, or Karen can send to you, they do have a pretty detailed description of why they're applying for the variance. It's whether they agree with it or not.
Right.
But it does give some information you can read.
Right. Okay. So I guess the conclusion is yes, Tom, they do have to come back to site plan in the end. I guess they have to get the variance first.
Yeah, it makes sense that they don't want to move forward if they're not going to get the variances.
Correct, but obviously if there's a fatal flaw that you see that the backing out or whatever makes it completely horrible, then you should probably make comment to ZBA and just and make that note to them so that they can take that into consideration. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yep, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was all I had. Anything else from anybody else?
Nope.
Nope.
Alrighty then.
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good day.
And you too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Hey, John, if I didn't stop recording, does it stop automatically when we exit?